Hello, everybody, to another episode here in this show of the podcast Skillionaires, the podcast where stories stick and strategies that scale. I have an amazing guest today. I've been so long after him. I'm telling you guys, I am so glad that he's here. He's also known as the Amazon King, has been several times also in newspapers. He actually masters not only marketplaces, he dominates them. And he is not only a product ranker, he is really bringing brands to drive their growth. Welcome, Jason Wow, here to the podcast. I just wanted to know more about your Amazon success because, you know, me coming from Germany, having also a background strongly in the beauty industry, trying to sell my products on Amazon, I really know what you're talking about, and I am very happy to pick your brain.
Amazing, absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for the intro. I mean, absolutely beautiful and absolute pleasure to be here today, Angela.
Thank you for being here. Tell us, you are in the UAE here since 2023. I just came to know, and I found your journey actually from such a short time, really like zoom. So amazing that I really wanted to know what is actually the background of it to do so, and why did you start as a pizza boy? And how this is coming all together.
So with my life and with my story, I also always felt like I had a guardian angel, you know, people helping me, guiding me, like similar to what you said. For me, I realized my mom, she told me early on that my grandfather, her dad, was an entrepreneur. And, you know, he made money, but he ended up dying. So he left the family in a very difficult situation. But every time I do business or I do anything in business, I always feel like he was there guiding me, giving me support, telling me do this, do that.
I get goosebumps with that.
It's beautiful every time I think about it.
It's a beautiful way of carrying his energy along your way and actually living his legacy and grow it as
literally. So I feel very proud to, you know, be an entrepreneur, have become an entrepreneur. Because before I was going off to university, I was following what all my friends were doing. I had a moment where my life almost ended. Because I was hanging around with the wrong people. But then I realized, okay, now it's time for me to live my life my way, live my purpose, help people, serve people. And that way, you know, things aligned. I dropped out of university. I needed money. I started delivering pizzas. Then I'm delivering pizzas. I'm making money. But now I need to invest the money. And I'm buying so many items off Amazon every single day. And in my mind, it just clicked, you know, why don't you just start selling on Amazon instead rather than always buying? And then I started learning the process. And, you know, it's been 6 years from that moment. We moved to Dubai. It was difficult at the start because we were still figuring out, like, what should we do? But then we used to work with an agency and they gave us our first client. So they gave us our first client, and then we started figuring out, okay, how can we get more clients? And then we get more clients, we're building, people are reaching out to us, we're sharing our success, they're reaching out to us, and we're building. And the beauty space is actually one that I've worked in, you know, quite exciting.
I'm going to pick your brain on that a little bit, but let's move first towards your shifting moment. What was the moment where you realized, okay, I wanted to proactively bring the legacy that I inherited from my family, basically, to life? What made you shift actually as an entrepreneur? Where was the gap that you leveraged?
So for me, I feel like all my life I was literally living unconscious. I wasn't really planning. I was just really following. My parents would say, you know, you're going to go to school, you're going to go to university, probably become a doctor. My dad thought I was going to become a pharmacist. So that's the path I was heading on. But as I was at university, there was a moment where I got into an argument with a gang member, let's say. And in that moment, we're in an alley and he pulls out a knife and, you know, he's ready to stab me. But somehow, you know, I managed to escape that situation. But as I'm in my university room now and I'm sitting there and I'm crying, like, you know, I'm only 19 years old, but my whole life could have been gone, you know, just finish. And my dad always used to say to me, like, boys, why don't you just read books, read some more? And I realized, okay, I really want to be rich. Like, that's what I really want. That's what I'm really after. I want a good life, I want to be proud for my wife, my family, my kids, my parents, I want to change the world, make a positive impact. And so I picked up my first book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, that's a good lecture.
Yeah. It was such a great book. It was so eye-opening. And there was a few things in there that it said, for example, don't work just to earn, work to learn. And for me, every single job I've had since then, I really try to plan strategically, like, what am I learning from this? Apart from the money I'm making, like, it's really about learning the skill set that will, make everything bigger. So yeah, I just leveraged that.
Very good, very good. And you then had, you said, bought a lot of stuff on Amazon, and you just came to this idea to turn it around. Why don't you put the stuff on Amazon to sell?
Yeah.
Okay. And I know from my business background, I know Amazon is, may I say this, a pain in the ass.
100%.
When it comes to being a seller.
Yeah.
I thought always also it is a worth path to go. And I had to experience that really to figure out, okay, this is not my path. But that's why I'm very interested of where you make the difference and where would you have made the difference in meeting me like 6-7 years ago. With your knowledge from today, of course.
Yeah, I mean, Amazon, I always say, like, it's a bad relationship, but I'm addicted to it, I come back, they spank me, but I'm like, yes, mommy. Amazon is a complicated game. But I feel like I fell in love with it. And one thing I learned as well when I met my wife is, when you go through difficult moments, it doesn't necessarily mean that you should stop or you should quit. When you go through difficult moments, it's usually a sign that there's something there for you to learn, to grow, to leverage, to move to the next stage of life. Before I found Amazon, I'd start something, it gets difficult, I'll quit. I'll start something, it gets difficult, I'll quit. But with Amazon, I fell in love with the game. I fell in love with the challenges. Like, lots of things can go bad on Amazon. Like, literally right now, it's Black Friday. The client is shipped in stock. Amazon is taking so long to scan in the stock. Like, the client's losing money. But these are issues that we deal with. And very strategically, what we've done is we've put the items as merchant fulfilled, which is like, you ship it from your own warehouse. And then, you still get the sales. You can still make the money. So, we come up with lots of different creative ideas of, every challenge that Amazon will throw at us, we're trying to overcome it and use our skills and our insights to make it better. And had I met you back then, it honestly depends what situation you're in. Like, how much are you selling so much so far? Like, what can we really, get some of their sales and, acquire them for ourselves? Yeah.
My first journey in Amazon is actually by selling my book over Amazon. So I wanted to write a book. I wrote a book throughout Corona, and I wanted to land an Amazon bestseller.
Yeah.
So putting my book on Amazon was the first step.
Yeah.
And I was not really happy about the situation that I placed my book there and would not be able to gain the client's data. And that's where I thought, like, okay, let's find a way around.
Yeah.
And I found a way around.
Amazing.
And then I had the data of my clients, and that was the first step. But being then a seller on Amazon, it had actually brought me thoughts, especially through the Corona time with our industry or in our industry. It is a lot of possibilities around. Yeah, everything was sold on Amazon. Everything was playing on Amazon. So out of our entrepreneurial mindset and out of an entrepreneurial view, I had to look at this situation. Neglecting this point of view would have been just stupid. And it helped us certainly throughout the pandemic time to deliver our product, not to spoil our product. But it also didn't bring much revenue because, we had to deliver it ourselves. And even if we would have brought it to the Amazon warehouse, it would have eat up our margin. And that's what actually, out of an entrepreneurial mindset, that is the weak point that I see. The margin of it. Out of my point of view, correct me if I'm wrong. I certainly can learn a lot from you. But out of my point of view, I should have sell either a very unique product or a mass product, so I can get the margin over the numbers. So how much is it a numbers game, this Amazon black box or rabbit hole?
Yeah. So it depends, I think when it comes to Amazon, the market is the most important. Like, in what market are you actually launching your product? Like, what is the market size, right? Because if you launch into a market where, there's only one buyer, unless it's a repeat buyer, they maybe buy once a month, once a year. But if it's a market where, top sellers making, let's say 100K per month selling that product, and then you come in with your product, if it's the same, people will be like, I'm already buying this one, why would I buy this? But if you have a differentiating factor, you show them, compare product A, compare product B, you definitely want product A because we have this. These are the unique selling points. Now these customers are now going to come to your product, right? And if it's a repeatable product as well, you get those repeat purchases. And one thing I know about Amazon as well that I really love is, at the start, yes, you will pay for advertising in order for customers to see your product. But as they're buying it more and more and more, you start ranking for those keywords, and you get more visibility. And that visibility is now free. People can click on it. They see your products they're buying. Amazon's making money. You're making money. You're spending less on advertising. So for me, Amazon, I don't necessarily say it's an easy game to go ahead and win. It's a long-term game. When you play short-term, you might take a few losses. But when you play long-term and you play very strategically, you have the opportunity to win.
It's very good. And I'm interested in, out of my point of view, I'm very attracted by the business model Amazon itself, by the mindset of the entrepreneur who is behind Amazon. How much it played for you a role in making a decision to actually go ahead with this Amazon business?
Do you mean Jeff Bezos himself?
Yes, yeah.
You know what? For me, I never really focused much on Jeff Bezos. I tried to listen to one audiobook, but he doesn't do much interviews. Only recently he's doing more stuff publicly. But I looked into Sam Walton, who is the founder of Walmart. So he has a book, Made in America, and he talks about his journey of starting his first store and, tactics he would use. And sometimes he would go to the shop in the aisle and he would look on the floor to see with a measuring tape, like, are they doing something different? Are they doing something more strategic? So he talks a lot about the ideas of, testing as many different things you can. And with what we do, we love to A/B test. Like, it's one of our favorite things because if we can win, even on the click-through rate over our competitors, and customers click our listing more than they click their listings, we have a higher chance of converting that new customer that's looking for the products, etc. But my choice of starting to sell on Amazon, I think it really came from a business philosophy that I had, whereas if you want to make money, you need to be where money is flowing and where money is streaming. Amazon's a $1 trillion company. I know that if I tap into the demand that the platform already has, then I am also going to make money. So,
I don't know a lot of people who have this philosophy, but that's always my saying to my mentees. If they say, I cannot pay a bill, I cannot afford this. And I'm saying you're standing in the wrong direction. Money is everywhere. If you don't have it, you are just not in the right direction. You have to review on which direction you stand. So very smart on that point that you see where the money flows, I go, and I'm going to make some business out of it. So what was your first product that you sold on Amazon?
So my first product that I sold on Amazon was actually a sourdough basket. So it's a bread basket. And most people actually don't know about the sourdough basket, but you seem like you know, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually grew up in a bakery, so I know everything about bread.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh, amazing. I make like sourdough for my kids. Like I got the starter and everything. It's amazing. Yeah, so my missus even loves it today. But my first job was in a bakery at Sainsbury's in the UK. And then I found this opportunity of selling the sourdough basket on Amazon. And I thought, okay, let's try it. I feel like in life, someone's always guiding me. So me working in a bakery and then seeing the bread product, and I really love bread myself as well. It made sense to me. The numbers were making sense. So I launched the item. I bought the stock from China. I think I started with like £1,500. And as I'm selling, at the start, like I'm losing money. I'm not making as much money. And I hop on a call with a mentor and he tells me, you're doing well, but just make a few tweaks here, and I make the tweaks, and then I'm breaking even, then I'm profitable.
Wow.
And then people come, they're buying wholesale baskets from us, so then we're making even more money. And then COVID came, and sourdough in COVID, it was like
there was a self-sustainable business.
Literally, it was a gold rush. But I made a mistake at that point where I was enjoying all the money. I thought I was rich, because for me back then, delivering pizzas, I'm now making 10K in sales per month.
It's already skyrocketing.
Yeah. And I was so happy. But rather than me reinvesting that money into the business, I was too busy thinking, I have made it in life now, I realized, okay, I still have the skill set. But what I can do, because I know how the formula works on Amazon, we're going to work with an agency. We partner with them. We help brands grow. So we work with like Elemis, Dermalogica, some of the biggest brands in the beauty industry, and, doing millions and millions and thousands.
Yeah, I saw Dermalogica on your profile. Yeah. So as a company that I well know.
Yeah. So it was, for me, that made me think like even bigger, from 10K to now hundreds of Ks of like millions. And, now the game for me is like, like how big can we go, right? There's so many numbers to go ahead and unlock.
Having an Amazon business. Now explain this to me if I'm not digging too deep. But you mentioned you just had this sourdough bread basket and you was able to, break even, adjust this and that to get into the profit zone. And what are the major mistakes a lot of people do, or what is the common mistakes that people who sell on Amazon on terms of the mindset that you can help actually as well? Because you said you had a mentor, you called this and that needs to be changed. How important is the mindset of not opting out at this stage where you are not yet profitable to just stick in? Yeah.
So for me, one of the most important things when it came to Amazon was to get the knowledge. For example, with driving, you don't just go sit in a car and you start driving straight away. You do your theory first, at least in the UK. You learn everything from the book. And then you go sit in the car with the instructor. They're sitting next to you, they're directing you. Because on the road, there's lots of different influences of things that are going on. And then after that, when you pass your test, then you can go ahead and do things on your own. So for me, when I started Amazon, it's the same way. I studied courses, everything that I needed to know. I had the theory. But then as I was in the game, I was actually selling on Amazon. The product is live. I'm realizing, okay, this is not as easy as I thought it is in the book. So then I get a mentor and he's like my instructor and he's helping me do this, that. And after I made the tweaks, then I could go ahead and do everything on my own. So that's the exact same way I'd recommend for everyone. I think most people go into it and they straight away want to go sit in the car and control everything themselves. They might watch 1 or 2 YouTube videos and they're like, yeah, I know everything. But you're only getting bits and pieces of information. And if you use those bits and pieces of information, you don't have the whole map together, you're going to get lost. You're going to go missing. You're going to be like, this doesn't work. I give up. I quit. But even one call, when I hop on people with one call, I can literally see 10 things that you're doing wrong straight away. Your images are not good. It might work on your website, but it's not going to work on Amazon. It's so competitive. You're advertising, you're targeting the wrong keywords. Your reviews, you might have bad reviews. You don't have enough reviews. Like there's so many things on Amazon to go ahead and consider.
Yeah, I think it's so many puzzles. You have the picture, you have the product. Is it even necessary to have a good product? Then you were saying something about the numbers game, clicks and keywords and all of these things. To bring it all together is something very orchestrating a big thing, isn't it? So what is the most important thing around these big puzzles that you have laying in front of a founder? What do you think is the most important key point on that?
So I would say number one would be the keywords. If customers can't search for your products, how are they going to find it? They need to be able to find the product. And once they search the product and your product is showing up, your main image, does it stand out from your competitors' images, or is it all the same? Because if it's all the same, why would I click on your one versus the other person's one? So the keywords, the title, then you got your main image. And then I would say now reviews as well. People want to know that, this product is going to be the right product for me. They don't want to purchase and then have to send it back. obviously it's easier here in Dubai. But in the UK, you got to go to the post office and, you know.
In Germany as well.
Yeah.
And then they don't open and so on. Yeah.
It's a hassle. But yeah, I love Dubai for the convenience. Thank you, Dubai, for that.
Thank you. Yeah.
So yeah, I would say those are the three main things I would go ahead and look at. But then if you want to scale and you want to be bigger, you're advertising. You know, that's where most people leak money. They either lose money or they make a majority of their money. Like, how strategic are you being with the keywords that you are targeting? And then when you target the right keywords, you get your ranking. So you can spend less on advertising. And I like video ads as well on Amazon. They perform quite well.
Yeah, Jason, you just gave us so much value around how you do Amazon, but how do you help? Let's talk about your own scaling strategy. Now, finding out you are selling good and that's what you're doing is working. How and when did you find out that this is exactly something not only to shift for you in the B2C market, but also showing others in the B2B market? Where was then the shift where you said, okay, I can shift myself and I can leverage? Where was this moment? And when did you decide on how to go?
Yeah. For me, weirdly enough, I feel like business opportunities are abundant. The opportunities are abundant. I look at my skill set and I look at what the market needs. So for me, I knew I had the skill set and I knew there's people selling on Amazon and they can, you know, learn how to make more money on Amazon. You know, you might have a great product, but you're literally struggling to put it in front of the right people. And there's many founders that come to us and they're in that situation where they have their product, but they're not necessarily making the amount of money they know they can be making when selling on Amazon. There's sellers that, you know, we help, we build their business from 0 to 6 figures. We literally just make a few tweaks to their products, adjust the advertising, and they go off and they make their money. And the thing I like about Amazon is also a system. You know, once you have the system in place, you can just go ahead and repeat. There's also people that come to us, you know, they're selling a lot on Amazon. They're making a lot of money. They're already at 6 figures, but they're not profitable. They're struggling with their profitability.
Exactly.
So then we'll come in, we'll look at your advertising, we'll see, okay, you're leaking money here, you're leaking money here. You don't need to be spending here. You know, turn this campaign off, or for example, this product, it's not worth it. You're losing money here. Let's focus on the products that are actually making money. Let's drive those products. Let's drive the sales there. And we literally grew the profitability of one client that came to us by 50% just within 2 months of working with us. So there's like lots of little tweaks that, you know, for me, it's very easy. I just look at it, the numbers tell me data, stories, and I understand it. But I'm not sure what it is.
For a founder, it is hard to bring all these puzzles together because, as you said, it has so many influences in place. But I wanted to know your own business case with showing others. How does it work? Do you do this one-to-one, or do you have a program, a mentoring program where are one-to-many and you tell them? And that is then your point of shifting, or where is your point of shifting?
Yeah, so for us, as an agency, they come to us and we have our team, we have our setup, and you know, we run everything for them. So it's a done for you model. There have been people that have come to us and they said, you know, can you train us in, you know, the way that you do things? We've tried it. It's not necessarily one that I do like because it's still very complicated, right? And I think maybe in the future, what we will build out is, you know, we teach you, but then we also sit with you for a few months, you know, like directly you have interaction with ourselves, with the team, and then we help you make those adjustments. I think that will be a good way to help lots of smaller brands who might not necessarily be able to afford our services. And then there are people as well that come to me and they're like, you know, I want to start selling on Amazon. Like, how do I figure out this whole game of Amazon? But I also think mindset is very important because out of 10 people that will come to me, only 1 out of 10 will actually follow through on, you know, everything that I do tell them.
Yeah, very interesting. So in the agency, how many people you have that are working with you in your team, and you as a leader, how you pick them to fit into your universe of Amazon?
Yeah. So at the moment, I believe we have 5 members of staff in our team. And how I pick people, honestly, I ask questions around their skill set because I want to know, like, did they actually understand what they're doing? But the main thing I'm looking for when we pick people is around their creativity, you know, the ability to think outside of their box.
Step out of the matrix.
Literally, like one question I asked recently in one interview is, if you had to take a car from here to the moon, but you couldn't use a rocket ship, how would you go ahead and do it?
It's a very good question. And I thought I was already innovative. I share with you my question, yeah. And what you want him to answer?
I mean, I want anything, like figure it out. Like, don't come to me and ask me, I need you to think outside. And one guy said something, he's like, I'll take a 3D printer to the moon and then, I'll build a car there, which I thought was very interesting. But, the more creative someone is, the more I gravitate to that person to find solutions to problems. Yeah.
I always ask my future employees that I interview if the company would pay them a mentorship, a course, a training course, which one they would pick. So I exactly know what mindset they have and if they have a role model. And if they don't know how to pick or to pick anybody, then I know they do not invest any of their private time into self-development. And that's something also very insightful.
100%, 100%.
So Jason, when it comes to entrepreneurship, you're an entrepreneur, a young entrepreneur. You have a beautiful wife. I see all along you taking your young family along your journey. And that is something so adorable to me, because sometimes I find founders who, doing their entrepreneurial situation and then they do not want to share it with their partner out of fear. They kind of poison the atmosphere at home. They live it twice. They don't want that. And I just wanted to know, what is the reason for you to take your partner so tightly along?
It's beautiful, because I also feel like my partner came into my life and it was like God given, like it was a gift for me to help me become a better person, because we met at university, and as I'm at university, I had these pair of shoes there and I wasn't really wearing them. She's like, you're not wearing these shoes, you should do something with them. I was like, yeah, just do whatever with it. And she goes and she sells it on eBay and she makes
not
money.
on Amazon.
Not on Amazon. But she sells it on eBay. I'm like, this is interesting. She made some money from this. And, from there we started learning together, investing together. So we're making money together. And early on I realized, okay, this is someone who has come into my life that is here to help me, and I'm here to help them as well. So everything we do, we literally do together. Like right now, she's at a cafe, doing some work, and I'm gonna see her right after. We do everything literally together. Yeah,
very beautiful, because I think it's so important. In my world, it's also non plus ultra, as I can imagine, to have a business running together with your partner, because then you are taking them along and you go the pathway together. And I feel all the time that not taking your partner along with you is earlier or later on the path creates a gap where you can't close it anymore, because coming home, being tired, this partner doesn't know why you're tired, why you're pissed off, why you be very happy, why everything is upside down or so. They don't understand, and then they're gonna make their own. If you have a lot of space for creativity, and you never win a two-front side war, as I can say, and you're losing it out. And if the gap in a partnership, in a marriage, in a relationship gets bigger and bigger, you on one hand cannot close it anymore. That's why I find your journey so beautiful, and it's just such a nice thing to see that you guys are doing it together.
100%. Yeah, I do agree. In our relationship, we also had a moment where we were working separate jobs, and we could feel the distance, have the children, had one kid to look after, and our daughter has autism, so it's like so tricky and more distance. But then we figured out, okay, listen, it's time for us to start fresh. Let's start from scratch. Let's build together. Let's build what we truly want and truly desire. And I think it's very, very important to build together.
Yes, it is. And also reflects then on the next generation of entrepreneurs that you're bringing up. Huh?
Yes.
Jason, in your life and in your business life, being a business person, it is crucially important to stay very flexible in your brain, but that doesn't come with ease. And I think sport is a very important factor to stay flexible in your body, staying flexible in your mind, and how you are doing this. Now, Dubai is a very good space of being fit and get supported. I actually see a lot of fit people around here, but how do you see that relation between both of these sides, business and fitness?
Yeah. So for me, I think they correlate a lot. Health is very, very important. And I see health as important because you could have all the money in the world, but if you're sick in the hospital, and you're dying, that money does not mean anything to you, So taking care of your body is one of the most important things you can do. Even in terms of eating, like the type of food you eat. I wake up sometimes, I don't eat the right food, and I can feel it immediately. My body's just like, I feel like I'm uphill battle, I'm climbing.
Yes.
But if I eat right, or if I even fast or something before I start my day, I feel 10 times stronger that day, And I have 3 pillars for me when it comes to money and entrepreneurship. And I got this from Patrick Bet-David, amazing entrepreneur from Value Payment.
Yeah.
So he says, health is the number 1 pillar. Then you have your skills, and then you have your network. So Dubai is very good for networking.
Yes. You are in the desert. You need to have a good network to send out your entrepreneurial caravan, isn't it?
Literally. And I love the internet for networking as well.
Yeah.
So network, your health, and then your skills. Because for me, skills, I realized, okay, Amazon is my skill. That's what I'm going to focus on. But my partner is also very amazing at marketing. A lot of the posts that you'll see on LinkedIn, she's, doing
a
the
great job. That Will Smith, King of Amazon duplicate, was a very good, unique thing. Very good.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So we have a lot of fun with everything that we do. And I feel when you blend these, then the money comes, The money comes as a byproduct of investing in your health, of networking. People know you're the person, if they need something. And then you got the skill set as well to be able to drive value in the marketplace.
Thank you for that insight. And then it is also something very motivating for others who are starting maybe only their entrepreneurship, or even are in there behaving maybe not so healthy or not so focused and lost track. I think that is a very important point of fostering your success to stick with you. And I wanted to know, one of the last questions, Jason, where we can find you and what exactly we can get from you besides your selling baskets for sourdough bread.
Yeah, so on all platforms, Jason Quao, you can find me on all platforms.
Okay.
LinkedIn being the one where we're most active on at the moment.
We are going to put every link under the show notes, no problem. People will find you.
Thank you very much. And I think you said, what's next, right? Did you ask that?
Yeah.
For me at the moment, with Intermast, our company, Internet Mastery, what I'm looking to do is, the internet is so powerful, it's so strong. Where I'm from in Croydon, there's a lot of people still struggling and still trying to figure out life. So I want to be able to show with my story and my skill set, with the internet, if you invest into yourself, you can go ahead and create any life that you want, just simply by investing in yourself, using this tool that's available to all of us,
Yeah, knowledge is everywhere nowadays.
Literally. So I want to go ahead and do that and inspire people.
Okay. And on what newspaper we see you the next?
There's another one coming soon.
I know one, because we are launching also a Skillionaire magazine, and every guest that we have in 2025 will be featured also on the Skillionaire magazine. So
amazing.
I'm going to welcome you there.
Thank you. I'll be very happy to be on there. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here, and thank you for letting pick us your brain, Jason.
No worries. Absolute pleasure, Angela.
I hope you liked it.
It was amazing. One of the best interviews I ever done. Yeah, literally. It was really great energy, really great questions.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like it was so amazing.